You and I will fail a lot in our lives. But here's something most people never hear. People who reach big, meaningful goals almost never do it on the first, second, or even fifth try. They fail over and over again. The only real difference is what they do after the failure. In this video, I'm taking on a challenge. I'm going to show you how I bounced back from one of my biggest setbacks as musicians, and we'll break down step by step how resilience actually works in real life. Hi, I'm Martin. I'm a musician and a psychology coach, and I help musicians create a better life from the inside out with real psychological tools, not fluffy, just think positive advice. Today we are talking about resilience. How do you come back from the moment that knocks the air out of your lungs? The failed audition, the injury, the burnout, the I guess I'm just not good enough moment. By the end of this video, you will have a simple mental framework and a few concrete tools you can start using today to become more resilient in music and in life. Let's be honest for a second. Most of us were never really taught how to deal with setbacks. We were taught how to avoid them. So when something goes wrong, a few things usually happen. Fear of failure kicks in. You think, if I try again and fail again, it will hurt even more. So you stay small, you stop taking risks, you tell yourself you're just being realistic. Second, your identity gets hit. It's not just that went badly, it's I'm a failure, I am not good enough, maybe I was just fooling myself. Third, motivation disappears. You know what you should do, practice, send that email, apply again, but your body feels heavy. Procrastination becomes a way to protect yourself from feeling that pain again. If any of that feels familiar, you are not broken. That's a very human reaction. But if we don't learn to handle it, every setback becomes a reason to give up a little more on ourselves. Resilience is not, I feel nothing, I'm a rock, I'm a mountain. Resilience is, I feel everything and I still choose my response. There are a lot of strategies, but I want to focus on a few that made the biggest difference for me. After a setback, we don't just feel sad or frustrated. We start telling ourselves a story. This proves I'm not talented enough, or I'm too old to start over. Other people can do it, but not me. Resilience starts with catching that story. So the first tool is this simple questions. What story am I telling myself right now? Say it out loud. Write it down. You'll be surprised how different it feels when it's in front of you instead of just swirling in your head. Once you see the story, you can do the second step. Is this story 100% true? Or is it just one interpretation? Most of the time, it's just one interpretation, and usually the hardest one. Another mindset shift. Instead of I failed, try I ran an experiment and got data. Did that audition, that release, that project go how you wanted? No? Okay. That's painful, and also now you know something you didn't know before. Resilient people don't pretend it doesn't hurt. They just don't stop at the hurt. They ask, What exactly didn't work? What would I try differently next time? What part of this is actually in my control? That doesn't magically remove the pain, but it stops the pain from becoming your identity. When you're on the floor emotionally, people say, just get back up, just keep going. Okay, but how? Here's the trick. Don't aim for the comeback montage from a movie. Aim for the smallest possible next step. Not, I will practice 3 hours every day now. More like, I will play for 5 minutes today. That's it. Not, I fix my whole life. More like, I send one email. I'll make one phone call. I will apply for one opportunity. Resilience isn't dramatic. It's boring, small, consistent actions, especially when you don't feel like it. Resilience is also about your nervous system. When we're in shock, shame or fear, our body says, not safe, don't move, hide. And then we try to motivate ourselves from that state. It doesn't work. So instead of asking, how do I motivate myself, ask first, how can I calm and regulate myself? A few simple things that actually help. Breathing slowly, out for longer than you breathe in. Talking to a supportive friend or coach. Going for a walk, not trying to solve your whole life in your head. Once the body is less flooded, suddenly small actions become possible again. Let me share one of my biggest setbacks with you. I've talked about this in my video. I failed as a musician, but this is the short version. For a long time, my whole identity was, I'm a musician, this is who I am, this is what I do. Then my shoulder started to hurt. At first it was just a little tension, the kind where you think, just pull through, it's fine, but it got worse. Practicing became painful, certain movements felt like someone stabbing a knife into my shoulder. I tried to ignore it, tried to be strong and keep going because, hey, real musicians don't complain, right? Eventually I ended up at the doctor, and after some exams I heard something like, if you keep playing like this, you might do long-term damage. You need to stop, rest, maybe rethink how much you are playing. I walked out of that appointment and it felt like the floor disappeared under my feet. No dramatic music, just this quiet, horrible thought. What if it's over? What if this is it? I felt ashamed. I thought everyone will see I wasn't strong enough, that I couldn't handle it. I avoided people, I avoided my instrument, I avoided my own feelings. For a while, I honestly felt broken. Looking back, a few things helped me climb out of that hole very slowly. First, naming the real loss. I wasn't just scared of pain, I was grieving a version of myself. Once I allowed myself to say, I'm grieving the loss of who I thought I would be, I could actually start healing. Change the story. My first story was, I failed as a musician. Over time, with help, it shifted to, my path as a musician is changing. I'm learning a painful but important lesson. Same reality, very different meaning. Third, ridiculously small steps. At some point, instead of comeback concert 2021, my goal became, can I practice for 5 minutes today without pain and with kindness? That was it. 5 minutes, slowly that grew. Integrating the experience, the injury and that failure didn't just disappear. It changed my relationship with music, with my body, and it eventually led me to psychology and coaching. The thing I thought had destroyed my path actually expanded it. And that's the point. Resilient doesn't always mean going back to how things were before. Sometimes it means allowing yourself to become someone slightly different, someone deeper, more awake, more compassionate. Let's quickly recap what we covered. Resilience isn't about never feeling pain. It's about choosing your response inside the pain. You're always telling yourself a story about your setback. Ask, what story am I telling myself right now? And is this the only possible story? Treat failures as experiments. I got data. What did you learn? What will you change? Make your next step tiny. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just small, kind, consistent action. Regulate before you motivate. Calm your nervous system so action becomes possible again. And finally, your setbacks, injuries, failures, they can become part of your gift. They can deepen your art and your humanity if you let them. Now I would love to hear from you. What's a setback that almost broke you? And what did you learn from it? If you feel comfortable, share your story in the comments. You never know who might read it and feel a little less alone. If this video helped you, hit like so more people can find it. And subscribe if you want more videos about psychology of being a musician and a human. And if you want to go deeper into this topic, check out this video next. I failed as a musician, but where I tell the full shoulder story and what it taught me about identity and self-worth.